Guys and dolls, Freedom Dad here for Unite the North. I've just watched Nigel Farage on television or on the internet and talking about a lot of things apart from what everybody else is talking about as usual. Peter Lynch. Why did Nigel Farage not mention Peter Lynch? Why is Nigel Farage once again being silent about patriots? We've got three blocks of evidence where he's called Tommy Robinson and us, anybody who supports Tommy Robinson, far right knuckle dragging thugs. That's what he thinks of us. We've seen how quickly he threw them under the bus whenever the establishment were coming after him for paying any heed to that fake news thing that came out saying that that horrible human being that unalived them three little girls, asking was he on the watch list, you know, and he panicked. That boy panicked, and what could he think to do? Who could he take the spotlight off him? Who could he shine the spotlight on? Tommy Robinson. Tommy Robinson didn't open his mouth. Tommy Robinson didn't send a single tweet about none of it. Just about how angry and upset he was about nothing about any fake news. Didn't touch on it. Didn't mention it. Nothing. Not a peep out of Tommy Robinson. But yet, Nigel Farage threw him under the bus. Oh, don't blame me. It's all Tommy Robinson's fault. And then we lose a patriot, Peter Lynch, no criminal record, a granddad, 61 years old. Of all of a sudden, in this 61 years of life, he decides to end it all in prison. Yeah. But not only that, the man didn't commit any sexual crimes. He didn't have a weapon. He didn't throw any stones. He spoke words that any one of us would speak. And I'm quite sure every one of us will be speaking from here on in. We will be saying scum. And we will be saying, I'm praying for our kids. Because he's right. Our children are being, you know what, by some of these men that are in these hotels. He's only telling you what the truth. He was praying. I am praying for my children. Freedom Dad, is praying for my child that's coming. I'm praying for my grandchildren, the children that my daughter will have in the future. I pray today for them. We all pray for our kids. We see how our kids are being abused in this country. We've seen the grooming gangs. We see who they are. We know everybody can see it. The only people not talking about it is the government or the newspapers or media or Sky News or Channel 4, LBC, all far left establishment shrills. And that's exactly who Nigel Farage is. Now, I'm not saying you don't vote for reform. Of course I'm not. But I'm telling you, if you're a reform voter, you must demand a change in leadership because you have control. It's up to yous. It's up to us. Yeah, you tell your local reform. Yeah, I will vote for reform if Nigel Farage isn't the leader. Okay? This is the last crime Nigel Farage commits against the working class. This is the last time the working class people of Britain are going to be made fools of by somebody that works for the establishment, coming in and pretending to be one of us, drinking in our pubs and talking with a Cockney accent like he's one of the boys, when he's nothing like us. Because the boys are all online right now talking about Peter Lynch. The boys are all quite emotional right now. The hard men of this Britain, the patriots of this Britain, are quite upset and emotional and find it very difficult to bring any content at all. And if there is any content getting brought out now, it's being brought out in the memory of Peter Lynch. And that's all we're talking about. I'm sorry, that's Tulip. He's on with Tulip. So, this is my plea to you guys. What's it going to take? Many times does he need to do this against the working class, one of us, and I mean ignore us like we're not there because we're insignificant. We don't matter to him. That's what he's saying. You know, Tommy Robinson, everything he's been through, what the government have done to that man, persecuted him, his family, his children, broken, split up from his wife, getting terrorised by hope, not hate, working alongside the government. We now have proof that the government were directly paying them hundreds of thousands of pounds. We've got it. We've got it in black and white. We've got the receipts. You know, the government were directly paying hope, not hate. You know, quite sure you could research it and find it yourselves, guys. And these are the guys that are persecuting Tommy Robinson. These are the guys who call us all Nazis. These are the guys that are making all these posters and putting them all over the place and handing them out and telling everybody that we're all racists. Lying to the rest of the public that haven't quite awakened right now. Going out onto the street and lying to our public. People like us that just, you know, too busy trying to feed their families, trying to get electric, trying to get gas, trying to survive, too busy to lift their heads up from what they're doing, just trying to get through the day and the week and the month. And then they go out and they get handed a leaflet and told Tommy Robinson's a racist and he's going to be here on this date, this place, come and support us. And these people aren't aware of what's going on around them because they're too busy struggling. We're all too busy struggling. But now we're struggling in so many different ways. We're all struggling now. Because every patriot is at risk that goes into prison. If you go out and shout at the police now, they're going to arrest you and put you in prison for years. Where you're going to maybe be abused by the gangs that run the prisons in Britain today. You know? So not only are they running about our streets, beating people like Captain Britain, 10 to 15 of them, you know? Our Captain Britain, our young patriot, mob-handed, beat him in the street. We've got the footage of that as well. You know? When we come out and protest, we're called the EDL. The EDL disbanded 15 years ago, but as a label that everybody recognises, so the government uses it. And the reason why the government used the EDL is so because then the Muslim gangs can come out and say, we're just beating the EDL up. It's all right, everyone. And all these people are too busy lifting their heads off the ground because they're too busy trying to feed their family. They actually think the EDL are still in, and these men are beating EDL or not. So it's all lies created by hope not hate and our government, both Tories and Labour, the establishment, the ones with millions of pounds and summer houses in other countries that don't need to live in this country. Their children don't need to go to public schools. They don't need to use the NHS. So why are they running our country? Why have we got people like that don't know anything about the real lives of what's going on in our streets today? And then when we scream and shout at them, they just arrest us. And all we're doing is trying to tell you what's going on, what's happening to our children. What happens to these children as they grow up and they become alcoholics and drug abusers? Been there, been one of them children. My partner's been one of them children. I know many friends that's been one of them children. Some of them aren't here with us anymore because they were one of them children. You know. Maybe the perpetrators, the monsters, the beasts have changed. They look different today than they did when I was growing up in the 80s. But there's one thing I'm going to assure you, the victims are the same. It's our kids, working class kids. And a man was praying for them kids. And our government, along with Hope Not Hate, put that man in prison. And allowed that man, just like Stormer, calling him far right. So many times he came out with his Union Jacks either side of him, as if he represents our country. And calling us all far right. So then when them men go to prison, the gangs that run our prisons treat them like far right. Can you imagine what's going on in our prisons right now? I've been doing videos a long time about it, so I have, you know, because I've spent that many years in prison. English prisons, Scottish prisons, Northern Ireland prisons. So all different flavours, believe you me. But the English prisons are very unique, so they are. And the demographic of the English prison does not represent the English streets. And that's the truth. It represents enclaves, ghettos, segregated parts of our cities. That's what they represent. These same parts are the parts where the police are scared to go into to get out vulnerable children. And when they try, they just get chased back out. We've got the videos of that as well. So, you know, whoever's running this country right now do not represent us. Because if they represented us, they would understand that when we're coming out to the street and we're calling the police scum and we're praying for our children, we're just trying to let you know. Because you haven't got a Scooby-Doo, do you? You don't really know at all what's going on. Because you've got everybody in power that's going to tell you the answers to the questions that you want. And that's the truth. And that's just the way it is. So it's down to us on the street to get the right people in power at our level. And then we can work our way back the way. Because we decide who's in power. We live in a democratic country. Now, the Tories have proved themselves. And the Labour, you know, this will be the last time Labour will ever be in power in this country. You know, whether we can survive 5 years. How many immigrants will they come and put in by then? How many prisoners will they release? Because these are all votes. These are all votes, you know. By 5 years' time, how many votes will they have? You know, this is what they're doing. This is what it's all about, you know. So you can't be silent anymore. And we can't have people like Nigel Farage representing us, you know. And you've got to wake up to that. And I know you feel he's the only hope we've got, but he's not the only hope we've got. There's other members of Reform. I'm not here to promote anybody. I'm just telling you we need to get rid of Farage. You know, it's just like he's not one of us. He's not there for us. He's there for the establishment. And if he gets into power, he will do the exact same as the Tories and the exact same as Labour. Just ask him, is he going to deport? And ask him, how is he going to deport? You know, and many governments have told us that before. You know, and they've never done it. We've heard the Rwanda scheme, come, go, you know. Hope Not Hate, Nick Lowell's have got people that convinced that even when they put the worst of the worst on a plane to try and get them out, the actual general public that don't have a clue what's going on in the streets because they're too busy looking down trying to feed their family are catching Nick Lowell's and Hope Not Hate. Not only spend the money to persecute one of our heroes, but also spend the money to facilitate the monsters that are coming into this country. That's who Nick Lowell's is. He's worse than the Labour Party. He's worse, you know. But I'm not going to say no. I think I've said enough, you know. If this does not open your eyes, I don't know what else will. Because you really don't understand. You really don't get it. If you don't see what's coming, you know. And it's up to you because, like, I can't do it on my own. And I'm not bringing my wee lucky up in this country if it's not sorted out. You know, we've got plenty of countries we can choose from that are safe for Christians and children and women. Plenty of countries. So, you know, I'm not a cop out or not running and all that, but you know, we can't beat. You know, we the only way we're going to do it is by using our nuts and using our votes, but making sure we're voting for people that we want in. You know, it's no hard, like, you know, it really isn't hard to do. You know what I mean? Just got to come together, Protestants and Catholics, Rangers and Celtic, Chelsea, Tottenham, Manchester United, Liverpool, you know. Everybody come together, you know. All religions, you know. There's not Muslims, Sikhs, Jews, you know. We can all vote for a safer country. Because I'm quite sure that quite a lot of Muslims that have come to this country for refuge aren't happy with the extremism that's flowing through our borders right now. Because you got to understand it from their point of view. They're running away from that kind of. They've came to a democratic country because they want to live a democratic lifestyle. They don't want to cover up. They don't want to have their women covered up. I mean, there's loads of men and women like that. They're not all. There's Sunni. There's so many different types, and there's Kurds and all sorts. And honestly, it's like We can't. It's not about Muslims. It's about extremism. It's about undocumented men making up new ID, coming to this country for the wrong reasons, and it doesn't take many. And like I say, it didn't take many in Northern Ireland. It wasn't every single Catholic that was in the IRA. Believe you me, many Catholics were against the IRA, but what could they do? They were in segregated communities. The police were scared to go into them. Exactly what happened in Northern Ireland is happening in England. And you've got segregated areas where the police can't go in. Extremism will rise. It will rise. And it's not just about terrorism on our streets, it's about what other Muslims have to go through because of these extremists. We've seen it in Syria, we've seen it in Iraq, we've seen it in Afghanistan, and we've seen it in Pakistan. Right? Women are persecuted, children are sold and married at very young ages. So yeah, it's a huge problem for everybody. I don't sit here as a white person or a Christian person. I'm sitting here as a British civilian. And that covers so many different colours and so many different religions. And never lose sight of that. We are a diverse community. We always have been. We never have racism. There was racism back in the early 80s and it was squashed out. National Front, boom, BNP gone. There's no far right. I lived and breathed far right in East Belfast, South Belfast. Most loyalist areas in Northern Ireland had far right coming over from England because we were vulnerable. We were going through so much with the IRA and we were proud to be British and we were loyalists and royalists and we were vulnerable, easy targets. But we didn't. We took a wee bit longer than yous, but we got rid of them as well. So there's no far right or racism in anywhere in Britain. You know, there's only one extremism in Britain today, because even the IRA called the ceasefire 15 years ago. You know, so you know what to do, guys. If you're going to vote for reform, make sure it's not him as a leader, because he's not one of us. He will fail us. He will let us down. Okay, I'm telling you that now. Demand another leader. Demand a change of leadership. You know, and then we will have a fight on our hands, and we will come together, and we will all rally. We will all go out, leaflet drop. We will take hours a night to explain to people what's going on in this country and why you should vote for reform or UKIP, whatever. You know, between the two, we'll still take the parliament. We'll still be in charge after this. There's no the country's being destroyed. But they started being destroyed by the Tories, and then Labour's finishing it off. But they're extreme, and we see how extreme they are when they've got hope not hate, fighting imaginary racist and imaginary far right. When we know there's none. They've not been here. There hasn't been any of that for years, but yet they still make all this money. And because there's no far right and no, everything gets thrown in the Tommy Robinson, and it's paints a picture for us. It lets us see clearly, you know, what's truly going on. You know what I mean? Because they're not the brightest. They're really not the brightest. And their bubble's getting smaller, guys. It's getting very, very small. So, and they can see that. And this is a problem for me. This is what you don't understand. I know I'm going on and on, but you need to understand this. Their bubble's getting smaller and smaller and smaller. The only people around them now is Palestinian supporters and Muslims and immigrants, illegal immigrants. That's the people around Hope Not Hate. There's no longer any British people around Hope Not Hate. You know, you've got the Blue Heart Brigade, your usual students, professors, and universities for whatever reason. You've got the trade unionists. Blows my mind that we've got the trade unions, being all that are involved against Tommy Robinson, a working class guy from Luton who hasn't got a racist bone in his body. You know, and it's clear to everybody now. You've just got to watch his Oxford Union speech. You know what I mean? If you've got any doubt, and that's way back when he was quite young. So listen, guys, I'm Freedom Dad. I'm doing this for Unite the North, and I want you to subscribe, to follow, like, and share. This is important. Any wee bit helps. You've got to understand that the social media platforms can be used just like money without actually giving money. By sharing and subscribing and liking a post, you're doing your bit, you know, and sharing it to 10, 15-year friends, you know, you're doing your bit. And we see that you're doing your bit because your name keeps popping up over and over again, you know. And at the minute, we're non-stop trying to build things and organize things and stay out of prison, you know, because it's not easy. You know, if you're going to jail for saying, calling the police scum and for saying, I pray for my kids, you got to understand, this isn't easy. I've got a wee girl coming in a couple of weeks, you know what I mean? I don't want to go to prison and miss her birth, you know? So I'm doing this, other guys are doing stuff, you know? So all you got to do is like, share and follow. That's it, guys. And get the word out. What you hear from us, you pass on to your friends. You ask them to pass it on. That's what it's about. You get me? There's people that aren't able to get on the social platforms. We're all getting taken down one by one. So that's why it's important that you keep going. You know, when somebody comes down, I want to see 10 years come up. You know, just get a camera, stick it in front of you and start talking. Talk about what you're experiencing, what you're seeing, how you're feeling. I'll share your stuff. You need an author, share your stuff. You know, you want to be a social media, you can do it. You want to be a citizen journalist, you can do it. Nobody's saying you can't do anything. You know what I mean? It's time to do something. Let's put it like that, guys. You know, it is what it is. So I'm Freedom Dad, guys. Thank you so much for, I don't know how many parts this is going to go in, you know what I mean? But listen, thank you for watching my videos. And please don't just watch them. Tell your friends about them. Pass the message on. You do not need to mention my name. Just pass the message on. Okay? That's all you need to do, guys. Have a good night. And God bless every single one of you.